I see what go on, and I mean I do a little reporting to see how the people then stay. You don't know people where are gonna need help, people where go, you know what I mean, that's the world works. Seal it now, man.
Yes, up yourself, brother.
How you hold it out?
Right now, I know that they also me sleep right through his time, you know.
Jeez and peace.
And two grand
I say
people
slept through the storm,
right
you
now,
know.
my son and me
daughter-in-law.
Yeah, and the road.
Godfather, what go on?
Get up and we fix you up since morning.
But I work like robot, man.
So when your house stop, one part they lift off since morning, the whole of
Since morning?
Yeah, man.
Oh, you know easy. How come this time gone and you still have place to lift up? And when it's time in there, you don't lift up?
Up and since morning we fix.
Since morning you fix it?
Yeah, you know, listen with me.
I chew you. You frighten me. Come and say.
More than fix it.
Man.
Alright, quick and fast.
This year, man, you have two local people in my yard. One girl and my son. This year youth and two more youth in a left lane.
Jaja know me.
All the storm right through.
Bro, me forward down here before it storm hit. And the whole of them placed underwater, especially around and towards the village.
Yes, so we there. Right, yes, so we
So water no full up in
No, sir, no water no going on my house, you know. See girl here, me and him and two local people.
Good day, my friend.
One a 4 and one a 6.
1 and 6.
And then no left.
You not going to the house?
You know, tear down a fence.
Pray for Jamaica, people. Pray for Jamaica.
On the side, we put it down and he lift up. Then 2 up and
Jaja know. Well, I'm sorry for not found down here, because I tell you I'm forward for showcase. What I want. So, what the man name? What your real name?
My name is Owen Squire, you know. I'm fishing from 1980, you know. All during this time and something. We're gone before burial. Burial come on the 3rd of July, right on my birthday.
On your birthday?
Burial
what a wicked star, man.
That 2025 there. Yeah?
You know, say, me like how you are reason and thing. Give me a number now that if person can reach out to you if they want to get an assistant, man.
My number is 843-6279.
Yeah.
But all during this time, me do everything and I never get a help from the government yet.
You know people?
Never.
Tell say the number again.
8465.
Yeah, the man's number 8465.
Me and him and one little girl. Where Casey on there?
Yeah.
They'll show you. Me and him.
Whole out
This
it.
little boy here. And this little girl
man.
here.
Give me a touch now, you.
Check the man's
Big up
number
yourself.
in the video if you want to support him directly.
Garbage they are both, you know, clean up. I zinc them here, get out back. And something to get them back up to date.
Yeah.
Understand? See the 4 year old.
Come here, touch me now, man. Give me a touch. That's a code, man. Boy, right, sure. Why God is good for sister on a wall it out and on a safe and them thing there. Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. That a code. So massive. Listen, I'm imploring on all my supporters, anybody at all where you see my video where you can render any of your support to, look on the place. All of them water, you know, we have kids here growing up, so you know, say, yeah. Jaja know, bro. You're a little puppy. Yeah, Jamaica walk by. Big up yourself, my sister. Everything good? Yeah, go and hold it. Yo, me like see you and make you transfer some energy. Make you walk with the man himself. So massive.
Everything there.
Yeah, man, I'm myself. She's right. Cameron?
The thing is,
mine it's still blue off, you know.
nah, come on. What's here, you know? They concrete the wall, the bottom of the whole thing, so I post them in a concrete.
Ah, yeah.
So all I post them in a concrete.
Watch out. I want to see the
So people,
tent, you know.
I want us to actually go into what is the
was it
significance of a
tent?
Category 5 storm. So we're going to watch Dancehall Decoded, and he's going to break down to us what the significance actually is of a Category 5 and how it was able to cause this much destruction and damage. So bear with me, people.
Sonia Hayden, who was crushed to death after her.
Alright.
Havoc across the Caribbean these past few days and is on a direct course straight for Jamaica. But what some don't know Despite its ironic name, Hurricane Melissa has been wreaking havoc across the Caribbean these past few days and is on a direct course straight for Jamaica. But what some don't know is that it's projected to apparently be the worst hurricane that Jamaica has ever received. This is because it's listed as a Category 5, and even the hurricanes of legend like Ivan and Gilbert have never reached that far. But what exactly is a Category 5 hurricane? Well, to explain this, we first need to understand that the entire reason hurricanes exist is because of the sunlight. The reason hurricane season starts during the summer is because hurricanes form when the sun is shining.
Well, I'd say part of it's sunlight. Also, a lot of it is also to do geography. You have actually seasoning, because remember, one of the biggest deserts is in Africa. And then also you have a lot of heat and humidity within the waters around Africa, around the Atlantic Ocean, around Africa. Often what will happen is within the summer period, the winds that go across the Sahara Desert, combined with the heat, will often travel across the Atlantic to the Caribbean and forming often hurricanes. And it's not just the Caribbean, but often, you know, the heat waves, whether the fluctuations in the temperature in West Africa and North Africa often can impact and cause heat waves in Southern Europe, and we've seen in the past. So a big part of it also is geography. Also a big part of it is climate change as well. The amount of carbon emissions and fossil fuels have exacerbated these seasonal catastrophes to points where now it's not just, you know, a simple Category 1 or 2 hurricane, but now we're getting hit with Category 5s, and it's probably going to happen more often and even escalate as we go on yearly. Another element of it is as well the manipulation of the weather. Governments, big corporations also do manipulate the weather, and this isn't conspiracy theory. I mean, the technology is there, and this has done things like cloud seeding, all sorts. And ultimately, if we don't think that this has an effect on the climate and catastrophic events such as this, then we're fooling ourselves. So all of these are contributing factors to why we're now getting Category 5 hurricanes.
On the ocean. When it shines too hot and the water starts to evaporate, eventually it rises up into the sky and forms clouds. However, if this keeps happening with a lot of water at an extreme rate, that's a lot of clouds to keep in one place. On top of this, the warm air that's rising to form these clouds is quickly being replaced by new air down below. And the faster this happens is how we get wind speeds. Add in the fact that the earth is always spinning and you have an insane amount of clouds in one place with fast-paced wind spinning in a circle. And this phenomenon is what you call the level 0 stage of a hurricane, a tropical depression. These are typically not that dangerous, with winds of only 39 miles per hour, and the main risk being heavy rain and potential flooding in weak areas.
The aurora can appear in 6 colours: green, red, pink, purple, blue and yellow.
But generally speaking, you don't hear about them that much because they aren't really that flashy. However, they're still important to monitor, because if a tropical depression keeps feeding on more and more warm water, it will eventually rise into level 0.5, which is a storm. We've all seen storms, and we talk about them because these typically go up to around 75 miles per hour and are characterized by lots of lightning and thunder. Not only do we pay attention to these because of how loud they are, but also because this is where damage can start to occur. Tree branches can be affected, power lines can potentially be knocked down, and this is where these monsters are typically given a name, which by the way are literally just a list of random predetermined names made by the World Meteorological Organization in alphabetical order that alternate back and forth between male and female names every hurricane. So the name has nothing to do with its severity. But if you thought storms were intimidating, that's nowhere close to if they were to evolve into a Category 1. The weakest stage of what we can now officially describe as a hurricane. At this stage, winds go up to 95 miles per hour, and if you have anything in your backyard that's not properly secured, it may probably be moved. Some trees may be damaged and your light is probably going away, but depending on where you live, you may get it back soon after the hurricane is done. It's not a full-blown disaster yet, and if you prepare properly and wait it out, it should pass eventually. But it's enough to make everybody prepare and stay on their toes. Simple preparation conditions may not be enough for the next one though, because when it comes to category 2s, this is a whole different ball game. At this stage, winds can go up to 110 miles per hour, which means that it's literally strong enough to start lifting roofs and snapping branches, even uprooting trees that are not properly fastened. Roads can be blocked by fallen debris, and this time you definitely will not have light. Flooding can also become a major issue for areas close to the sea, and if you live in the hills, well, just know those landslides are nothing to joke about. A category 2 hurricane is no longer just a threat, it's a promise, and it will not be forgiving to those who don't take it seriously. However, this is the part where we can say that we have essentially just described a stereotypical hurricane, something we've probably all seen at some point in our lives. However, the next one on the list is territory so dark.
So right now, what you just described, in fact, let me
that our parents never failed.
What you described, this is what our parents would have experienced. In fact, I remember my mum telling me stories of her growing up and the roof getting lifted off. You understand? But realistically, those categories, you understand, all those regular hurricanes is probably as a category 1 or 2, and then the legendary hurricanes that we've heard about have been under category 5 but above a category 1 or 2. So you haven't really experienced the full extent of what we experienced with Hurricane Melissa.
18 Jamaicans, including the body of 24-year-old Orito Lawrence in Kingston, who was found floating in a flood. 35-year-old Sonia Hayden, who was crushed to death after a random guinea tree was uprooted and fell on her house at 9:30 in the night. 37-year-old Carmen Clark, who was killed after her house suddenly collapsed on her during a land slippage. And the craziest one that I saw was an entire family of 4, including 44-year-old Donald Carnegie, along with his 3 children who he lived with in Stony Hill, who were all instantly killed because while he was preparing food on the stove, the insane winds obliterated their house with nothing more than mud and random debris. Literal mud. Alongside those who lost their lives, another 18,000 people were tragically left homeless. This is because category 3 hurricanes go up to 129 miles per hour, which is literally the equivalent of skating down the toll at 200. And if you didn't have the absolute best infrastructure,
so category 3 hurricanes go up to 180 miles per hour. So these are the hurricanes people that historically have been the bad hurricanes. You understand, when you hear about the news, it's usually a category 3 or 4. You understand, and that most of the hurricanes our parents, our grandparents would have experienced, probably would have been around a category 1 or 2. So what I'm trying to say is, what Jamaica's gone through right now is unprecedented, not only in West Indian history, but I would say not even in the history of the Americas, but in world history. This is unprecedented right now, and it's just an indication of our climate, where the world is at. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight back into
up to 129 miles per hour, which is literally the equivalent of skating down the toll at 200. And if you didn't have the absolute best infrastructure, you unfortunately did not stand much of a chance. And after everything I just said, it's genuinely difficult to believe it gets worse, because what could possibly be worse than this? But there are still 2 levels left, and there's another hurricane.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words, create your brand, your opportunity, your breakthrough.
That even our grandparents view as the worst event to ever happen in their lifetime. None other than the category 4 behemoth, Hurricane Gilbert, otherwise known as the worst.
So far, before Hurricane Melissa, the worst hurricane Jamaica's experienced is Hurricane Gilbert. That's something our grandparents would have experienced. So you have to take into consideration that is a category 4 people. The worst Jamaica has experienced is a category 4, meaning the average hurricanes people probably experience seasonally is probably a category 2 to 3, and a normal hurricane is a category 4. People, Hurricane Melissa was a category 5. That should let you know the level of damage and destruction that has been done.
hurricane Jamaica has ever seen. If Category 3 was like the worst version of a typical hurricane, Category 4s are like if the devil himself came onto earth and was allowed to wreak havoc. And nobody felt this more than those who were present on the day of September 12, 1988, the day it made landfall. The sky was black, with winds tearing through the air as if it were gunfire. Power lines